What is up? Hello again, and, welcome. So we just finished up another tea party. Hanako's leaving, it's, almost 10:30, and, it's curfew. So, Iseo decides to have a future talk with Lilly. So yeah. Oh yeah, I talked to Matsuo on Friday, and finally checked out some guides on college and how to apply for it. That's good news. If you're going to be applying for colleges, I assume you have some idea in mind of what you want to do in the future. I think I've settled on becoming a science teacher. It's going to take a while to get through the university and get qualified, but I think it'll be worth it. Lily's face brightens considerably at the news. I suppose with her wish to become a teacher, she's delighted that I'd take the same kind of path. So you've decided on a career of teaching. I think that path suits you most excellently, Hiseo. I smile and nod, this time even if I know she can't see me doing so. I know she feels it. I imagine Matsuo would have taken to the news well. That's one word for it. Hey Lily. Yes. I know you want to be a teacher, but for a second I wonder whether I should really ask her the question on my mind, but that's quickly brushed aside by the fact that this is rather late to have second thoughts. Surely you don't think I'd be offended by something regarding my blindness. Her accusing tone is betrayed by her grinning face, amused at my awkwardness and raising the topic. Some things never change. Good point, I guess. I was just thinking whether or not being blind would be a hindrance, what with your ambitions to become a teacher and all. She looked mildly surprised before giving the question some thought. I refused to think that she'd ever pondered this issue before. I wonder, Hiseo, could you close your eyes for a moment? Oh, great. This part. Okay. Raising my eyebrows, I do as she requests. I have no idea what she has in mind, and questions only increase as I peek out from one eye. You cheater. Taking the black ribbon she usually wears in her hair from the cabinet beside her bed, she advances towards me while running it through her fingers to remove any stray hairs remaining on the piece of cloth. I suddenly click onto her intentions as I feel a black strip make contact with my face, wrapping around my head over my eyes. What exactly is this for? It's a little test, Hiseo. Since you seem to be wondering, I'll let you see things as I do for the time. Huh? So that's what this is about. Obviously, it's what it's about. To be honest, this actually sounds kind of fun, childish, and rather silly to anyone who would be watching, but a bit of silly fun never hurt anyone. I stand up and heave, with a heave, my hands quickly moving out in front of me to warn me of any obstacles. Okay, now what? Now touch me. If you say so, now then. I slowly make my way forwards towards the sound of Lily's voice. My walking speed could barely even be called a shuffle, the entire experience feeling alien enough that I don't want to risk inadvertently tripping over anything such as her table or her haphazard pile of books. Something soft yet solid brushes against my leg. Further inspection reveals it to be Lily's bed. I move onwards, finding myself thankful that Lily's room is so neat and tidy. Even the pile of books she has are generally kept close to the wall, well out of harm's way. The hard wall pressing against my outstretched hands makes me furrow my brow in frustration. Hey Lily, where are you? What are you doing over there? I'm over here. Cat and mouse without seeing. This is great. You know where this is going. A little voice comes from the other side of the room, far from where it was before, even to my untrained ears. If she's going out of her way to avoid me reaching her, then it's just a game to her. Of course it is. Compared to a life where even the concept of sight is an abstract one, a few minutes in a blindfold are nothing. I guess she's made her point. She's more than capable of navigating her room, and further, I've seen how independent she is, even when she compared to many of the other students in Yumaku. Well, even if it is just a game, I might as well play it wholeheartedly. With a pace much quicker than before, I move towards the source of her voice, deftly sidestepping the table in the center of the room, thanks to her remembering its position. Now I've got you. She gives an impish giggle, one just long enough to work out that she's passing just beside me. I quickly turn to face the new direction. The table wasn't there before. Ow, ow, ow. I slowly sit up next to the table, raising my blindfold as I rub my aching head. I give an irritated kick to the table that's just sitting in front of me where I fell. Utterly pointless, but the thing deserved it. Hiseo? Lily's still standing just to my side, obviously unsure of what's befallen me. Sorry, I kind of fell over. Awkward. Are you hurt? My head hurts, but I think I'm okay. I think the table moved in order to trip me over. She giggles as she walks over and takes the seat beside me, her hands resting on my own. I suppose that's the end of that then. I think so. But I also think I get the point, though I do wish it hadn't involved such a headache. She suddenly looks blank. Point? I return an extraordinarily flat look. That was just for fun. I just thought it might ease you up a little bit on the subject. You always seem to tiptoe around it after all. In regard to teaching, sight isn't that important. There are plenty of classes taught entirely by entirely blind teachers, and more than enough resources for me to learn the subject. It's as simple as that, really. I slump my shoulders and give a snort of amusement. Yeah, I understand. I guess we'll both have to work hard to reach our goals then. What is it? With a little hesitation, Lily pushes forward her chin and closes her eyes in an unmistakable gesture. What's the song? Oh, to become one. I gladly accept our lips touching, as they do. I suddenly feel her hand snaking up my chest from underneath my shirt. The feeling of her hand against my bare skin is enough to make my heart suddenly accelerate. Healthy young sex drive, that's what this is. So she's in that kind of mood again. Well, I'm hardly one to complain. She does genuinely like this, and even with all my medications, my libido is thankfully still intact. I lean into the kiss further, holding her hand tightly as I feel it tracing the contours of my chest. Eventually, we break off from one another, the room silent, but for our breathing. Hey, Aseo. Yeah. I don't suppose you can wear the blindfold again. Oh boy. Her tentative suggestion takes me by surprise. I suppose she wants to introduce me to sex through her eyes as well. Or just wants me to find out what I'll be like during the act while hampered by a blindfold. Of course. With a measure of unease tempered by curiosity, I do as she says and lower the blindfold over my eyes. The world becomes dark again. I reflexively tense as I feel Lily's hand brush against the side of my face, entirely unable to anticipate her touch. I really need to get more used to contact like this. Even after the weeks we've been going out, it isn't as natural for me as it is for her. Silence. Hey, Lily. Shh. I immediately follow her instruction and quietly listen, trying to make out anything that's happening around me. Compared to before, when I was chasing Lily, the need to carefully navigate the room's obstacles are now gone. I can take my time and concentrate much harder on listening. Okay, sorry, excuse the little weird jump there. Anyway, it takes a while, but I can eventually pick out the soft sound of her breathing in the otherwise dead silent room. In and out. In and out. Measuring it against my own breathing, I realize it's definitely deeper than normal, especially for her. Another sound makes its way to my ears, one that I can't identify immediately. I don't think I've heard it before, but my heart skips a beat as I realize the source. My hand almost reflexively reaching out towards it. Her face feels softer than usual under my touch. Her head just barely turning in acknowledgement towards the fingers on her cheek. Hiseo. I gulp and take a moment to try and calm down. I need all the concentration I can. I can muster while I'm like this in order to fully take in my surroundings. Whew, I'm out of breath. Sorry. After a few deep breaths, I think I've managed to collect myself with a touch so light that it wouldn't disturb a feather. I start to move my hand down her body, and I can feel myself losing focus again, thanks to those thin silken pajamas of hers, resting so perfectly over the curves of her body. If she's like this, that means she has to be sitting against her bed, facing me now to continue. Alright, this must be her hip. If I just move slowly downwards, Lily's breathing catches as my hand comes over hers, tentatively following her fingers between her legs and losing them as they go underneath her underwear. Just the slightest moisture touches my fingertips, but it's enough to easily work out what she's doing. Yes, it is. My mind suddenly fills with visions of what she might be like in front of me right now. I'd never even imagined her doing this before, and being unable to see her doing the act only enhances the mood. And you peek. I work the blindfold upwards, brushing out of my eye a couple hairs that were stuck to the ribbon before. For a period of time, I can only guess. My mind goes completely blank. All I can do is stare as my newly freed eyes take in everything in front of them. Just as I worked out, Lily sits in front of me, with one hand on the ground to steady herself, the other's fingers lightly brushing between her legs, hidden by her dark blue underwear. I think it's the most erotic scene I've ever seen. Once again, I reach out and brush her hair from her face, her chin tilting outwards as she fills her pleasure-wrapped body with another breath of air. Lily. Lily looks oddly cute as she smiles at my calling of her name. It always seems like it's at the moments when she's least attentive that she lets her most interesting emotion slip out. It's not long before she works her fingers over herself faster than before, her excitement evidently rising, the scent of her sweat in the air only echoing that fact. I sit in front of her. It's hardly as if my own arousal is holding still. It's taking every fiber of my being to let her continue by herself instead of pushing myself on top of her. It's strange. I had initially found her clouded blue eyes to be distracting, almost disturbing in their lack of focus. That bothers me far less than it used to now. My attention refocuses on her as she lets out a whimper, and her breath coming much faster than before, and her hips subtly rocking. Sweet. No sooner do I realize her close to the edge, how close to the edge Lily's become, that her breath catches, her eyes clasp shut, and as every muscle in her body seems to contract, and she unmistakably reaches her climax. For a scant few seconds, she tightens, huddled in ecstasy, before her body relaxes, after a long drained sigh comes from her lips. I just have no idea what to say. Silence reigns while I simply watch her, hair hanging over her face as she sits exhausted. Hiseo? When she reaches out to brush my face, my urges take complete control of my body without much second thought. I push myself over her frame. Yeah, another sex scene. So I will end that here. I don't think I'm gonna black out that first scene, or that CG anyway. It's not too bad, and the next few ones aren't gonna be as bad either. So this may be a not safe for work video. So it's not necessarily pornographic, but you know, try not to flag me so I lose this video and maybe you know, my account gets suspended. But anyway, with that in mind, don't forget to like the video, comment, rate, subscribe, while you wait for the next one where we finish up this little session with Lilly. Lilly, forgot her last name. Yeah. Anyway, see you, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.